taking deep breaths because it's always hard for me and emotional for me to talk about these things because it's gonna be an emotional one this week. So when I first received the news that I was being laid off, I was completely shocked. Felt like I was punched in my guts. This is Girl Take Note, a podcast for women who are looking to turn their dreams into reality. Hey guys, welcome back to Girl Take Note. I am Shaunie Sanders, and today I'm going to talk about something that's kind of like a piggyback off of my last episode, which is from dream job to layoff. And I wanted to kind of continue this conversation because one, I got a lot of questions around it, but also this is just something that I'm actually dealing with right now. And I wanted to kind of talk to you guys and tell this journey. But today's episode is really about coping with the emotional aftermath of a job loss. And this has been probably one of the most emotional experiences I think I've ever dealt with. I don't know if I ever dealt with something like this before, but I do know that it's just something I want to continue to talk about because I feel like this is almost therapy for me. And job loss can feel like a punch in the gut because it's not just the loss of income, but also, it's the loss of like identity, routine, and sometimes your sense of self-worth, right? Because I can tell you right now that I know I identified myself by my job, the job title. I know a lot of people do. We introduce ourselves, sometimes leading with the job title, right? That's just the way it is. So today I want to share my own experiences of these emotions that I've been struggling with and some of the things I kind of been doing to help me navigate this challenging time in my life. So if you're interested in listening or watching this episode, make sure you go ahead and tune in right now. Get yourself a notepad, sit down, get cozy, and let's really get into this episode because it's going to be an emotional one. It's very personal for me. These episodes are definitely personal. I'm taking deep breaths because it's always hard for me and emotional for me to talk about these things. So when I first received the news that I was being laid off, I told you guys before, I was completely shocked, right? Completely shocked. I have never been laid off before. I felt like I was punched in my gut. Someone just knocked the wind out of me almost. I don't know. It's just that nervous feeling that I had. And it's just been hard to shake. I think it's because I really liked my job. I really thought my job was really good. I thought I was doing a really good job. And then suddenly it was just gone within minutes. And that's the thing about jobs, that's the thing about working for someone else, it's not real security. Your fate is in someone else's hands and it can be taken away from you like that. So I can tell you that the first few days were a blur of disbelief and sadness, right? I just kind of felt like anxiety rush over me because I'm on this thing and I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Like, really, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I don't have a job. Moi, who've been working my entire life, who always had a job, who was making really, really good money. I didn't know what to do. So I'm going to say this. If you're going through this right now, know that it's okay to feel loss and it's okay to grieve. It's okay to grieve it because it's a loss. It's a real loss. It's something that was tangible to you. It was something that you had. It was something that you used to wake up and go to, especially if you enjoyed it. Now, if you hated your job, don't get me wrong. Some of us still feel a punch in the gut, even if we didn't like the job, because it's the loss of that income, your financial source where you was able to take care of yourself and pay your bills and provide for your family. So it's still a loss. But one of the first things I realized was the importance of acknowledging my feelings. I have really understood that because suppressing my feelings only made things worse. So at the end of the day, I allowed myself to cry. I allowed myself to feel angry and I allowed myself to express my fears. And I did. I talked to friends and family and their support was very much so invaluable. And so if you're struggling today, I'm going to tell you right now, don't hesitate to reach out to your support network. Don't hesitate to do it. Don't be embarrassed and don't be ashamed of what's going on in your life because sometimes just talking about it can lift the weight off your shoulders. It really can. And it's hard. It's a hard thing to deal with, especially if you're by yourself, because everything falls on you. Granted, I have my husband here, but at the same time, I was the main source of income here. I made the bigger check. That's just what it is. And also, I've been dealing with some marital things. You know what I mean? And so all of that coming at one time, just kind of like, oh, it just threw me in a downward spiral. It really did. It really did. But another thing that I feel that helped me immensely was establishing a new routine. And so what I realized is that the first thing I did was that I thought that is to just kind of sit in bed, don't get out, be depressed, be sad. What you getting up for? You don't have a job no more, girl. And so I decided, and what's so crazy? I did that for a few days. I did that probably for like a few weeks at least, until I realized that without the structure of a job, it's easy to fall into patterns of staying in bed and feeling sorry for myself, right? Because when you have a job, you have a reason to get up. You have to get up. You know what I mean? Because you have to attend meetings, you have to get work done, you have to give deliverables and all this other stuff, right? But when you don't have that anymore and it's gone, I decided that even with my podcast, even with everything that I was doing, I said I have to set small, achievable goals each day. It could be as simple as going for a walk. It could have been just updating my resume at that time, or even trying a new hobby, whatever it may be. I feel like these types of small things can really help you rebuild your confidence. And it began to give me some type of sense of purpose too, right? Because I decided to say, you know what? I'm going to get up every morning and I'm going to walk. I'm going to get up every day and I'm going to put a schedule together. Like I actually got my calendar out when I said, okay, I'm going full force with the podcast. I'm looking for work, but you know what? I can really go full force with the podcast. I can start doing more interviews, right? And so I said, you know what? I'm going to put together a nice schedule. I'm going to schedule my day out. And I found solace in self-care, because I could tell you one thing for sure about me, and I don't know if this is you, but I never prioritized self-care. And I know how important it is for us to have it, not just as an entrepreneur or as someone who's pursuing something new, but just as a person, as a human, as anyone, man, woman, or whoever you may be. Like, taking care of your physical and mental health is so crucial during this time, because I dealt with so many things in the beginning, and I'm still dealing with things right now, because you can tend to fall into that feeling sorry for yourself mode if you don't see nothing coming to things you're doing is not producing, right? And you just feel like you're just doing and doing and doing and nothing is coming about. You're applying. Nobody's returning your call. Nobody's sending you an email. Nobody's setting up interviews. You're doing interviews, interview here, interview there. Nobody's hiring you. It can take a major toll on your mental health, a major toll. And so one of the things I started doing in the morning after my morning walks is that I started meditating. And I had started the whole morning routine of meditating before, but it helped me kind of calm my mind and reduce my anxiety, because when I tell you my anxiety levels were high, my anxiety levels were so high in the beginning of this layoff, where I'm managing them now, but it was so high before. And I still have moments of anxiety, not all the time, but just moments here and there, not daily, but just sometimes, And so being able to have some type of routine, being able to meditate or either exercise really had to become a daily ritual for me. Like, I'm really trying to get myself back to a great place in my health and in my mental space. So even if you have to start with like a short jog or a walk, or maybe do yoga at home, whatever it may be, like eating well and getting enough sleep also makes a significant difference on how you can feel. I decided that I'm not going to stay up all night worrying and stressing out about things that I just cannot control. At some point, I had to say to myself, you can't control this. You might as well go to sleep. You can stay up all night, all you want to, brainstorming, thinking of all these different things. Nothing's gonna happen right now. You can't control certain situations. Certain things are out of your hand. I really had to talk to myself and say, Shaunie, you can't make people hire you. You can't. You can't do it. I had to talk to myself that way, because I was up late, and I'm not even the kind of person that likes to be up late. Like, I love to get rest, but I was under so much pressure and so much anxiety that I couldn't even sleep. And so being able to incorporate the meditation and the morning walks and just being able to get like real good sleep and take my health seriously, kind of been able to really help me through this. And I'm telling you, with the job loss, it kind of just made me refocus on those things, because before I don't think I focused on those things as much. Even with self-care, I didn't focus on self-care that much. You know what I mean? But now that the job is gone, I take my self-care very seriously. And I think you should too. If you're experiencing any type of loss or crisis, these are some of the things that you need to do. And you know what? Another aspect of coping with the job loss is to reframe your mindset. Now, here is the biggest thing of all of what we have to deal with. And I've talked about mindset in a few episodes, even with a few of my guests on the show. Instead of viewing this as an end, I try to see this as a new beginning. You know, I try to really say, you know what, Shaunie, don't look at this something as just the end of everything for you. As if you lost this thing, now you're going to lose everything. No, that's not going to happen. Look at this as a new beginning. This was an opportunity for me to reassess my career goals and my dreams. And to ask myself, what do I really want to do? What are my passions? Sometimes we can look at certain things as like defeated moments, but a layoff, being fired, or just any type of life crisis, life incidents can be a catalyst for positive change. It can help push us through. It can help push us to pursue different paths that we might have never considered before. Like never. And so when I began to reframe my mindset as, wow, this is an opportunity for me to make the most money I've ever made. Because I was making really good money with my job, but now I'm like, oh my God, I'm in a position where I can make as much money as I want. My salary won't be capped. My salary, the amount of money that I can make can be within like beyond my wildest dreams. You know what I mean? Like it can be as whatever you want it to be. That's what I began to think, because we think about our financial concerns, our financial resources, they're really, because the money piece, the financial piece is such an emotional part of this journey. And that's really where all the stress comes from. This about, like, I'm going to be honest. I really did like my job. I really did. But I loved the salary more than I did the job. Let's just be honest about it. We all can sit here and say, oh, but I love my job. Great. You love that salary more than you love the job. If you could just get the salary that you get, you wouldn't even do the job. You wouldn't. And so the main stress and anxiety was because of the financial loss. It wasn't because I lost a job. It's the financial loss. And so what do I do now? The money is gone. Savings is low, barely there, running out of that, ran through that. I had to come up with maybe more creative ways to get through this, and creating a budget, get rid of some things that I didn't feel necessary anymore simply because I didn't have a job to pay for them. Pulling back on some of the things that I used to be able to do for myself and trying to figure out how to do them myself, but sticking with that budget can really help alleviate some of the things and the stress that I was going through. Sticking to that budget, that is. It really did alleviate that. So if you're going through something, create yourself a budget where you might have to downsize a little. I didn't have to downsize when it comes to my home, but I had to downsize in terms of like, I didn't need a lot of the stuff that I had coming out of my check. I don't have to have certain things. And so certain things I just don't have anymore. And honestly, I'm okay with that. I really am. Because it allowed me to release some of the stress. And so for a while I was on unemployment, and then unemployment ran out. But also, I look for other programs that can provide any type of support, and one thing I know is that I'm not afraid to seek advice from anyone that has good advice to offer, because when you're going through hard times like this, people can be very judgmental. and they can be harsh. They can look at you as if you're not doing enough when you know you're doing everything you possibly can. So one, you want to be careful about who you talk to, but to be able to talk to friends who can really understand your situation and offer you like maybe some financial advice, maybe some advice in terms of like just helping you get through it, emotional support, right? Because that's truly what you need most of all. You need to be supported emotionally through this. Because when you don't have that emotional support, it is hard. It is hard to get through it. And so I've been fortunate enough to have really good emotional support. I have been fortunate enough to have friends who have referred me for certain things, like maybe even little side gigs, little jobs here and there. And I'm very grateful for that. I'm very grateful for that. But I do know that I'm in a place where, like I said, financially, I can make as much as I want or as little as I want. It really is up to me. And I decided to really count on me, depend on me. Listen, when your back is against the wall, you got to do something. And so I'm exploring new opportunities and new journeys on what I can do to bring in money to help support my family, because that's at the end of the day, that's what it's about. And that is my honest truth. This is why I tell you guys, I love my solo episodes, because I get to express myself, and I've been wanting to share all of this for a while, but I just was too scared to do it, too scared of what people were going to think, too scared of people judgments, too scared of what people comments might be when I'm this vulnerable and being this open and this honest. But it's therapeutic. Like, if nothing else, it's therapeutic. And I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying talking through this, because as I talk through it, I begin to generate ideas, and it doesn't become so bad, right? It becomes, like I said, an opportunity for me to really do something new. It allows me an opportunity to do a career change. Because I haven't found work, I've been thinking about career changes, doing something different, pursuing different opportunities, other side hustles, and whatever else I can think of. But I just feel like I'm at a place in my life where I want to do something that's going to bring me joy, something that I can offer to people, something that's going to be of value. That's really where I am. So listen, I want everyone to know that if you're going through something tough right now, if you're going through a crisis, if you're going through a layoff or a job loss, it's okay also to seek professional help, like a therapist or a counselor who can provide you with strategies to help you manage your emotions, right? And help you process what you're going through, because it's not easy. If there's no one that you can talk to, if there's no one that you feel you want to share with, there's no shame in asking for help. There's no shame in it. It's actually a sign of strength, not weakness. And I think we need to understand that asking for help is not a sign of weakness. It is actually a sign of strength. You're strong. And that's what I know. And I had to keep telling myself that I'm strong. I'm strong. I can get through this. I've been through worse. I can get through this. So as I wrap up today's episode, I want to remind you that you're not alone, because I had to realize that I wasn't. And many people have been through this and come out stronger on the other side. And that's what I keep thinking about myself. And although it may not seem like it now, if you're experiencing this, but this experience can be stepping stones to something new and a fulfilling chapter in your life. So I want to thank you for joining me today on Girl Take Note. If you found this episode to be helpful, please do subscribe if you have not yet. Rate this episode, leave us a review, of course, because it means so much to me, and it really does help us reach more people, and it helped me really grow this podcast, and also just being able to reach people that will benefit from our discussions. So until next time, I want you guys to stay positive and stay strong, and I will see you in the next episode.